Hello everyone, today we're going to be taking the Mensa International IQ test. I'm going to go through each problem and explain how to do it. So many of the principles that I explain here can be carried over to other IQ tests, so just knowing these things could improve your score by 10 to 20 points. To access the IQ test, just go to mensa.org. Are you for Mensa? Take IQ challenge. Scroll down all the way here. Let's start. Select your age and start test. So the first few are going to be pretty self-explanatory. This one, just A. It's the matching grid to its grid cell. For exercise number 2, you can see rows have dots, stars, and squares, but inside of them there is a circle, plus, and diamond. This one is missing the diamond and it's in the row of squares, so the answer will be E. This one is exactly the same, except rows are circle, square, triangle, and the things inside of them are nothing, circle, and plus. This is missing nothing and it's in the triangle row, so the answer is F. This one, you can see it is a slider. The slider is on the right, middle, and left positions, and these are just rotations in them for each row. So the answer will be F. This is the same thing except I guess a different style for the slider. And so for the exact same reason, the answer will be D. In this one, you can see each cell sort of has 2 rows of blocks. You can see going left to right, 1 block is added to the row on the bottom. Here it has 1, here it has 2, and here it has 3. So here we see 3 at the top, but the top doesn't change. On the bottom, it's 1, 2, and then 3, so the answer will be E. So in this exercise, going left to right, the mini grid here with the block rotates clockwise, and 1 block is added in the clockwise most direction. You can see how this is rotating to this, and 1 more is added each time. So here it's 3, it gets rotated, added to 4, so the rotation with 5 is going to be E. This one, I think there's some extra rule, but the simplest way to think about it is just the third column is the flipped version of the second column, and so for that reason, it's going to be C. Okay, so in this one, it is each row, the circle stays in the same place and the box rotates clockwise, and so the answer will be D. In this one, going left to right for each row, the arrow rotates counterclockwise, and so for that reason, the answer is D. For exercise 11, the middle objects in the grid is basically the top one added to the bottom one. Here you can see the oval, the dot added together is this combination of the shapes. So here it is a square and an oval. Added together, we have the square on top, so it is the oval that is missing. Again, I think there's multiple ways to think about this one. The easiest way to think about it for me is for the rows, it rotates clockwise. Each row has 2 black and 1 gray. So here we're missing 1 black, and the order of rotating clockwise gives us answer A. So for this one, each row has 3 different colors and 3 different shapes. The bottom row is missing black and a triangle, so the answer is a black triangle. Pretty much the same idea here. Each row has 3 shapes, and each row has a horizontal, vertical, and diagonal line. This one is missing a circle and a horizontal line, so the answer is A. In this one, you can see that the arrows rotate clockwise, and each row has 1, 2, and 3 dots. This one rotates from left to up, and the missing is 3 dots, so the answer is F. Okay, so in this one you can see the sliders rotate clockwise. Each row has a white, gray, and black slider. This one is missing a white slider, and the order of rotation gives us B. Exercise 17, going left to right in the rows, the circle rotates 45 degrees and then 90 degrees. See here, same thing. And so following that pattern, the answer is D. Okay, so for exercise 18, you can see the first 2 columns have 2 lines, and the last column is made out of 4 lines. And the 2 choices are C and F. F is already sort of repeated here, so we can say that C is the answer. In this one, each row has an inside of nothing, a circle, and a triangle, and an outside of a square, dots, and plus. In this one, it's missing the triangle inside and the dots outside, and so the answer is A. Exercise 20 introduces a pretty common theme for a lot of the remaining exercises. If you're familiar with programming terms, you can think of this as an XOR gate from left to right, but pretty much what's happening is the first one is being added to the second one. Any lines that overlap are canceled out, and any lines that don't overlap are kept. So you can see that the line on the bottom, for example here, is gotten rid of, but no other lines overlap, and so they're kept. Using that same logic, we keep the outside of the box because we have these two and these two, but nothing that overlaps. The top left to bottom right diagonal overlaps here, so that won't be included, but this top left to bottom right is included, and so the answer is going to be A. This is the exact same principle, and for the same reasons, the answer is B. So for this one, exercise 22, you can see that the objects under the line in each cell are repeated horizontally, and you can see that the objects above the line are repeated vertically. So repeated horizontally, we can see it's going to be the one square on the left underneath, and vertically, it's going to be the circle and square. And so the answer is E. Okay, exercise 23 is when it starts to get hard, but here is how to figure this out. So we're going to start looking at patterns from top right to bottom left here. And so you can see, starting from this square, we have triangle, triangle, circle. Moving to this square, you can think about it like the object on the left got moved to the right. So the triangle got put on the right side, and so you have triangle, circle, triangle. Same thing, the triangle moves to the right, giving us circle, triangle, triangle. And you can do the same thing for these other diagonals as well. If you want to extend the diagonals, because you can't really do much with two, the diagonals repeat every 3. This slot right here, the top left slot, actually goes right here to the right of the top right slot. And you can see that this diagonal repeats. So, using the same logic, you put the square on the right side of the triangle to go here, and then for the next cell, you put the circle on the right side of the square to get to here. So, by this logic, we can put this middle left tile to the right of the middle right tile, and move the not filled in square to the right side to get a triangle, circle, square, and that means that the answer is F. This is the same as 20 and 21, another exclusive OR. So you can see here, just doing the exact same principles, the answer is going to be F. So exercise 25 is, again, it's sort of like an AND gate. Anything that matches in these first two cells carries over to the third cell. You can see that the top, middle, bottom, middle circle, and top left dot make it over here. And the only thing that is similar between these two is the middle bottom circle, meaning the answer is E. For exercise 26, this is a combination of an AND and exclusive OR. You can see that the circles, only the ones that match carry over, but with the lines, they combine, and anything that overlaps is canceled out. So here, no dots match, and both this line and this line get canceled out. So the only thing left over is a line going to the bottom right, so the answer is F. In this one, you can see that each row is made of a small, medium, and big angle. From left to right, the objects rotate 90 degrees clockwise. You can see here, it rotates 90 to down, so next will be facing left. We already have a small, medium, and so we need a large, so a large facing to the left will get us A. This is another exclusive OR, and for the same reasons discussed as earlier, the answer is A. For exercise 29, what happens from the left to the right, this is another row problem. You add the left side to this left side, and you add the right side to this right side. Any squares that match from the left to the right cancel out. You can see here, we start with 2 on the left, and then we add 2 on the right, but they cancel out because they're the same. The only thing that's left is 2 filled in ones on the left. Here, because nothing is ever on the left, there's nothing to cancel out, and it's just this one plus this one gets us this one. For this one, we have 2 on the left, 1 is filled in, and 3 unfilled in on the left. 1 on each side of the unfilled in square will cancel out, which gets us 1 filled in on the left and 2 unfilled on the right, meaning the answer is C. For this one, we can sort of see addition in rows and columns. And so there are different rules for the different combinations of dots and squares. For example, in this first row, we can see that 2 dots make a square, and we can see that a dot by itself or a square by itself results in the dot or the square. We can see in this row that a dot and a square cancels out to nothing. And using this column here, we can see that a square and a square results in a dot. And so using this logic, the answer will be E. This is another exclusive OR except for each grid cell, and for the same reasons discussed as before, the answer is going to be D. This is another AND problem. we see what matches up in these first two. So here it is these dots and these squares, and then we just flip the result from that to get what goes in column 3. The only thing that matches from this one to this one is this dot in the top right, and so the answer is going to be that flipped, which gets us A. 33 is one of the hardest exercises, but I will try my best to explain it. From the top row to the bottom row, we can see that top right to bottom left diagonal, going from the top right cell to the middle cell, the flags on the right side of this line flip, and if there's 2 flags, the bottom one gets priority. We can carry over the same stuff about diagonals we talked about before, moving this top left tile to the right of the top right tile, and we can see that the unfilled in flag gets flipped to the top side. Here in the top middle tile, we can see the same thing, where there are 2 flags on the right side, and the top one gets priority and it's moved to the bottom. From the middle row to the bottom row, it's the same thing, except the bottom flag gets priority. From the middle right to the bottom middle, you can see that the filled in flag gets flipped. From the middle to the bottom left, we can see that the top one gets priority here when there are 2. And so to solve this, we need to put this middle left tile, we have to put it to the right of the middle right tile, and using the same top gets priority, or in this case it doesn't even matter because all we have to do is flip it, the answer is E. For this one, we have to sort of split it up between the filled and unfilled dots. We can see that on the top right to bottom left diagonals, the positions of the black dots stay the same, so from this one to this one to this one, but for the white dots it's a little more tricky. We can see that using the same top right to bottom left diagonals, the unfilled dots sort of cycle around this line in the 6 possible positions they can be. If they ever go in the same spot as a filled in one, it's as if they just go under it. You can see starting here we have the 2 unfilled circles at the top. The one in the top right gets covered up by the filled circle in this middle tile, and then in the next one it comes out from under and the one behind it gets covered up. So the filled in ones just cycle clockwise around the line. So using this, we can determine that the bottom right tile, the one we're trying to figure out, is going to have 1 filled in circle on the middle left of the line, and the filled in circles, so if we go here we can see they're at the bottom. We move this one to the right of the middle right tile, one of them gets covered up, the other one goes underneath the filled one, which gets us answer A. For exercise 35, we're going to have to split it up into 2 different problems again, and then combine them to get the final symbol as our answer. For this first one, we look for things in common, or an AND, going from top left to bottom right. Here we have a V, here we also have a V, and so the resulting one will have that V. We can also check that this works for the other ones. If we move this bottom left tile to the right of the bottom right tile, we can see that the 2 horizontal lines, which are similar between this one and this one, carry over. So we know that part of the resulting image in the bottom right tile, which is what we're trying to figure out, will have this V shape. For the second part of exercise 5, we have to use the same AND idea as before and see what each one has in common. It's going to be the top right to bottom left diagonals, so it's going to be a little harder to see, but if we move this top middle and left middle 3 spaces to the right, we can see that they have these 2 parallel and vertical lines in common. So we have the 2 vertical lines, and we have the V shape. Combining the 2 gets us D as our answer. Okay, so that was the last question of the IQ test. Here, if you click finish again, you can see you have an IQ of 145 or more. These same principles from this test can be used in so many others, using the same ideas of the diagonals and the seeing what's similar, seeing what is not similar. Just doing this could probably improve scores by 15 or 20 points. So yeah, do whatever you want, impress your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next video.